First, with immigration one of the key issues of the election campaign, a special report now on the gangs targeting Vietnamese migrants. That nationality now makes up the largest number of migrants illegally entering the UK on small boats. ITV News filmed a joint UK and French operation to tackle the gang masters behind it. We also witnessed 82 people, including babies, put on a small boat in northern France in front of French police. One Vietnamese migrant who did make it here told us how criminals back home were forcing him to work by threatening his family. And he also described how he and other migrants fled Home Office accommodation when the Rwanda bill was passed. Our correspondent Peter Smith reports.
Hit it while it's all flexy.
A cross-border police operation closes in on a suspected international people smuggling network. Since last year, ITV News has been investigating these smugglers, following their routes from the villages in Vietnam through Europe, bringing people here.
You've assisted illegal migrants who've arrived on small boats.
Now we have been given exclusive access on this joint operation with the UK's National Crime Agency, working with a specialist police unit in France known as Ultim.
What is it you're looking for in this property?
At the moment it's predominantly the people and obviously any other evidence of communication or any other devices they've been using.
The Prime Minister has singled out a tenfold increase in Vietnamese being smuggled into the UK, driving up small boat crossings to record numbers. This man's name is Tuan Si Tran. He confirms for me he is from Vietnam, and in this one operation, 16 arrests have been made. All Vietnamese, all have now been charged.
This place in Croydon is believed to be part of an international people smuggling network. In this case, it's been shut down, but the gangs are always adapting, trying to evade detection.
This trade in humans is now estimated to be worth around £5 billion a year globally. And new data published today shows for the first time ever, it is Vietnamese who are the single largest group now crossing the channel. It is a thriving economy where the supply from smugglers meets a desperate demand. And we've seen that desperation. On the beaches of Dunkirk last month, we filmed 82 people, some holding babies, crammed into a dinghy right in front of French police. The UK government is threatening to deport people like this to Rwanda, but those who are willing to risk life and liberty are difficult to deter. It was in France that we first met this man at a squalid camp outside Dunkirk. The Vietnamese mafia gave me an ultimatum, he told us. Either I go to the UK to work for them and pay back my debts, or they will sell my wife's organs. That man has now made it to the UK, but he is now on the run. He's shown me evidence that he was taken into the custody of the Home Office when he first arrived. But after just 2 days in the country, he saw the Prime Minister announce his Rwanda deportation plans, and that is when he went into hiding.
There are about 20 of us in accommodation. After we heard that announcement, everyone just ran away. We couldn't risk hanging around waiting for the government to deport us to Rwanda.
If he's deported, he knows he won't be able to work for the gangs here to pay back his debt, and they would find other ways to get their money. We've seen proof of the pressure they are putting on him, and after threatening to sell his wife's organs, they're now targeting his daughters, aged just 17 and 15.
They say they'll have my daughters raped, that they'll be put into prostitution. Your government thinks I'll be deterred because they might send me to Rwanda, but the Vietnamese mafia definitely will hurt my family. What choice do I have? What would you do for your family?
The Vietnamese have established networks in the UK now. Family, friends, jobs, places they know they can disappear underground. But we can report the Rwanda deportation plan is having an impact. One woman we previously met in France who was trying to cross the channel messages now to say she's gone to Germany instead. I was so scared of being sent to Rwanda, so I didn't dare travel to England. Another Vietnamese man we had met in France tells me and the others are all so afraid of the Rwanda announcement, we don't know what to do now. He has also gone to Germany. But Vietnamese migrants and the smugglers are acutely aware a UK election is coming up that could change that threat of deportation, and they are prepared to wait. We've put our findings to the Home Office.
You've seen it in your investigations and in your reporting. This is evidence, early signs of that deterrent effect in action.
We've heard of one case where
They heard the Rwanda plan, and what we're told is that almost everyone from that accommodation fled and went on the run. Do we know the number or the scale, is it even a ballpark, of how many people are now underground because of the Rwanda announcement?
But by its very nature, no one would be able to answer that question.
They were in Home Office accommodation. They were on the books, as it were.
Immigration enforcement teams are day in, day out. They are doing their job.
How many approximately do you think you've lost?
If you're here illegally, if you do not have the right to be here, you will be detained and swiftly deported.
The government cannot tell us how many migrants in the UK they have now lost. We know of at least one. He is in fear of both the gangs and the government. The former treats him like cattle, the latter as a criminal. He doesn't want to live like this. Nobody would. But the fate of his family now rests on his ability to stay here and avoid being caught.
OK, some signs of deterrence, Peter, but there are still very high numbers of people crossing over.
10,000 now, Charlene. 10,000 have arrived in the country by small boat, and never before have we had such a high number at this time of year. We're not even at the peak season for boat crossings yet. And for the first time ever as well, the biggest number crossing is Vietnamese. Now, this is not a country that's at war. People are not fleeing famine in Vietnam. And we've been investigating this for about a year now. And what we've seen is the well-established networks and how lucrative it is for these gangs that are exploiting impoverished Vietnamese people. It's that promise that this will be a life-changing move for you to get to the UK. As I say, they're exploiting people's desperation. The routes are well-established now. The gangs know that they can get people legally into parts of Eastern Europe, predominantly Hungary, on worker visas. From there, they're smuggled to northern France. They get across the channel on these small boats, and they're put to work predominantly in nail bars. That's something else that a lot of our viewers will have noticed, these Vietnamese nail bars springing up in high streets across the towns and cities. Whoever wins this election, if they want to take on illegal migration, they need to take on this Vietnamese phenomenon. And what I've seen from investigating this is that there is already a conveyor belt of the next group of people waiting to get here.
OK, Peter, thanks very much.